Good morning everyone, it's Monday morning. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. So let's get the week off to a great start with our level 1 mat class. So as always, I need to let you know that you are taking part in this class. At your own risk sounds a bit harsh, but you are responsible for your body and keeping it safe whilst you're doing these exercises. So if there's anything that you know isn't appropriate for your body, make sure that you either leave that out or work in a modified way or a safer way so that you know you can keep moving, stay safe and healthy. So just check that you've got a safe, clear working area as well, no trip hazards. And you are going to need your block today. And if you haven't got a block, grab a cushion that you can maybe double over and use to support your head while we're inside lying. Now there will be some exercises that we're going to do in 4-point kneeling. So if that's not available to you, do you have a chair that you could sit in and do a different version of that exercise, moving the same limbs in a similar way? Or maybe could you do it against the wall? So if we're doing pinpoint arms and legs, maybe you could extend your leg to the back and lift that way instead. So just make sure that you can adapt those exercises and make them accessible for you. Okay, let's come into our good standing posture then. So just finding that connection through the feet to the floor, feeling centered and grounded and anchored. Let's build that foundation. Allow the toes to stretch out, give them a wriggle. Pressure into the center of the heels. And as always, just making sure those feet are parallel. Okay, really important. Lengthening up through the legs. Let's keep building upwards. Pelvis into neutral. A slight softness in the kneecaps. And then as you lift out the hips, and you feel that spine stretch upwards all the way up through the back of the neck. Feel how that activates the core. Let's think about maybe bringing the chin back a touch so that it's over the collarbones and the ears or over the shoulders. We'll open those shoulders, relax them down. Let's take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So a nice full active breath. So that as you exhale you can feel all those muscles pulling in. You might want to start using the pelvic floor as well. Big breath in and a big breath out. Now let's start to take that into some sways. We're going to press into the toes and then press back into the heels. Just gently working through, and I want you to just connect, feel what's happening in your body as you do this. Now if it feels good for you, you feel confident too, can you start to lift those heels just a little, and then can you lift the toes? Don't worry if you need to step out of it, that's fine, but just be particularly mindful as you go to the back that you don't bend into it. So try and keep that nice strong connection, ribs to hips. And centre, wonderful. From there, let's wake up those feet with some foot pedals. Opposite arm into that arm float. And rolling back down so that we're putting that heel back down under the hip. Just see how the body feels with this. Now if you think it's all right with your shoulders, can you turn and open the shoulder a little more without turning the body? So we're just feeling that stretch across the front of the shoulder. Opening it out. So let's do one more each way. And then we're going to take the arms forwards and fold them into Cossack. Let's work on those feet a little bit more. Can you keep your hips level and come all the way up onto your big toe, pushing the heel forwards and roll back down. So if that's not available to you, if your feet don't like this, that's fine, just stay with the foot pedal, but just see how much mobility you can get through the feet. If you're not sure that your hips are staying level, pop your hands on your hips. Can you go a bit further and push the heel forwards to come onto the top of the big toe? So we're pushing forwards rather than down. Pushing forwards and down. One more each foot. And then let's reach those arms forwards and take a circle. Let's lift up, stretch out wide and down. Wonderful. Let's start to turn the body now. Swing and open the chest, open the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. So osteoporosis, spinal issues in the lower back, let your hips go with you. Otherwise, if you can turn from above the hips, that would be great. Let's do one more each way. And another big stretch up and round. So I'm going to take the arms forwards now, pull back into a bow and arrow. Can you follow that hand? Up and over. Changing sides. Again, let your hips go with you if you need to. But we want to move that head. Follow the fingertips. Now we're going to follow them downwards. Tuck that chin down and up. I want you to really think about lengthening the back of the neck here. So tuck that chin down. Follow the fingertips round. One more. And up. Wonderful. Now let's just take the hands onto the hips. We're going to keep the hips nice and level. Kneecaps, slight softness there but not bent. And we're going to lift the ball of the foot off the floor. And down. Now just see if you can do that without tightening the kneecap. And staying really upright so that you're not rocking back into the heel. We're pulling up. Feel that shin work. Let's do one more each foot. And then we're going to take the arms down. And we're just going to bring them forwards. And I'd like you to just tuck the pelvis under and soften the knees. So you feel your lower back lengthens rather than your shoulders. Keep that upper body upright. And then let's open up. Open the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Scoop forwards. Inhale. Exhale. So if you know this kind of flexion isn't good for your spine, instead of tucking under, I want you to just draw the tummy muscles in. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And up. Wonderful. Now we're going to go into a split stance here. Now you can stay hip distance if you want to. If you're feeling a bit braver, you could bring your feet closer together. But you want your heel lined up with the big toe of the other foot. And just find that you've got the same pressure through each foot. Now let's lift up. And the challenge is to lower yourself back down, both heels hitting the floor at the same time. So rather than it being a rock forwards and a back, it's up and down. You need your hand on the wall, pop your hand onto the wall. So let's get ourselves centered. Lift both heels. And try and land both heels at the same time with control. You can keep it as small as you need to. We've got two more, and the last one, if you feel able to, we're going to hold and do a balance challenge. So can you hold this one, fold into Cossack? Can you turn your chin over one shoulder and centre, over the other shoulder and centre, and come back down. Very well done. Right, let's step to hip distance and step that back leg a bit further back. Make sure your heel is pointing away. You can feel all of those toes on the floor evenly, and hinge forwards. We're going to come down into some lunges now. Let's press into that front heel and push back up. Now if you'd like to, we'll leave the arms here and we'll add in a bow and arrow instead. So that as you lower into that lunge, you're going to pull the elbow back. Remember to lift that elbow behind you, keeping a tall spine. Taking a stretch up and round. Now we're going into a split squat, which might be a bit more challenging for your balance. If you need to, just bring that back leg in a little. And we're going to imagine we're sitting towards that back heel. So you're going to bend the knees but sit towards the back heel instead. So the pressure is going down through the ball of the back foot. Sitting back. And again, bow and arrow if you can. Your hips square to the front. And pushing up. And round. Lovely. Let's step that in and go to the other side. So remember, it's toe in line with the heel, narrow or wide, that's up to you. Hips square and centred through both feet. Let's lengthen up. The more active your core is, the stronger you'll feel in that balance. And let's come up onto the toes. Now lower, try and get both heels to land at the same time. We've got 2 more, and remember, if you'd like to, you're going to hold this last one for that balance challenge if you feel confident to. Hold it here, turn the chin over one shoulder and centre, over the other shoulder and centre and rolling down. Wonderful. If you're narrow, step to hip distance. Let's take that leg back, hinge forwards. We're coming down into that lunge, so we're pressing into the front heel. Keeping that core active. Now let's leave the arms here if you'd like to. Ready for bow and arrow. So we've got opposite knee and arm forwards. Lift that elbow behind you and open the shoulder. We've got 1 more. And then give me a stretch up and round. And then if you need to step in a little bit for our split squats, I'm going to bring those arms down ready. Just check hips are square. And let's hinge and sit back towards the back foot as though you're trying to sit on your heel. Again, if you'd like to add in the bow and arrow, let's leave the arms here this time. And you're pulling back and up. And stretching up and stepping in. Now I think those legs need a little bit of a stretch now, don't they? So let's step one leg back, doesn't matter which one. Just make sure you're on all your toes, heel is pointing away, rather than being on your big toe and your heel turned inwards. Okay, let's roll onto that heel and up. Let's make it a bit more interesting with the arm. Flex the wrist. Let's push up to the ceiling and back. Big breath in. Can you feel that stretch all the way up to the ribs? Now let's place that heel down and take a little lunge forwards, keeping the heel on the floor. Okay, stepping onto the front leg. Let's just take the back leg a little bit further away if you can. Remember, hand onto the wall or sturdy furniture if you need to. And we're just going to take a lunge to start to open this hip. then just soften both knees, step in, let's hang heavy, breath into the back, and then exhale, curl up. Let's take an arm circle and step the other leg back. Okay, all the toes down, hips square, and let's start to ease that heel down. Remember, you want to make it a bit more interesting with the arms. Flex that wrist, push up to the ceiling. One more. Now let's leave that heel down and lunge forwards. One more. Okay, from there, lifting the back heel, stepping a bit further out if you feel confident to, and just coming into that lunge to open the hip. Just nice and gently, hips staying square. It can be quite easy to sort of leave the hip behind and turn, but we want to get that hip stretching and opening. Let's take one more. And then soften, step in and curl up. Wonderful. Right, from there we are coming down onto the mat, so nice and safely, and we're going to come down into side lying. So from there, grab your block or your cushion. Let's pop it down, ear onto the block. Now, this shoulder that's on the floor, are you lying on the back of your shoulder, or are you on the end of your shoulder? So try and have that shoulder actually underneath you rather than in front of you. So just pull it underneath, check that your head is in line with the rest of your spine. Let's stretch out. Okay, top hand for support if you need it. Activate that core. If you're passive, you're going to feel very unsteady, so switch everything on. Okay, top leg, let's work that foot as well. So let's stretch, lift, flex and lower. Side leg one. If you feel confident to, hover that top arm out in front. Now if you're somebody who likes to turn their leg out, make sure that you are feeling it here and you're not turning that leg out and feeling it round the back. Let's keep that going. Now we've got one more. Let's hold. Can you give me some little circles from the hip? Stay steady. 4, 3, 2, 1. And reverse. 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower that leg down. Okay, let's bring that top hand down. We're going into a parallel développé now. So I'd like you to just lift and hover that foot. So you're just at hip distance, it's not a big lift. Just bring the feet apart. Now you're going to bend that knee. Now can you stay steady? Push through from the back of the hip, push forwards, and then bring that leg back down and hover. Bring it in, push through, and down. So this is coming from your hip and glutes. It's not all happening in your back. We've got one more. Now, can you keep that here? hip replacements, just come back to side leg one. If you're here, can you dip it down, squeeze that ankle down towards the floor. Last one. And then bend that knee in and bring it down onto the mat. Just allow that hip to have a stretch for a little moment. And then we're going to bring those legs together again. Now, osteoporosis, diastasis, hernia, prolapse, no lift. You're just going to squeeze as though you were trying to lift that bottom leg up off the floor, but you're not actually going to. Otherwise, we're going into side lying mermaid. Let's stretch both feet. Push those toes away from you. Squeeze the knees together. Now breath out, lift both legs. Flex and down. Now I'd like you to really reach away as you lift. So our bodies will work to where we already feel strong. So if you have a tight lower back and you pull your hips in as you lift rather than pushing away, your back will be doing all the work. I want you to get those abs working, get this top side of the body working. So reach those legs away as though somebody's got hold of your big toes. Keep reaching. We've got one more. And down. Wonderful. We're going to bring both knees in now. So I'm going to move down the mat just a little. And let's take the arms out in front. So could you feel like your spine is long, everything's active, and you're rolled more towards your knees than onto your bottom? So think about pressure through the knees towards the floor. And we're going into side lying open door. Now let's lift that hand, follow it up to the ceiling. So just to there and back down. Lower body staying anchored. Now, if you have osteoporosis, diastasis, hernia, prolapse, spinal conditions where rotation isn't good for you, you're going to stay with that for me, please. Otherwise, we're going to keep those knees anchored and we're going to rotate. Now exhale as you pull back up and round. Inhale, exhale. Breath in, breath out, pull back round, following that hand. We've got one more. And down. Fabulous. From there, we're going to keep the top leg bent and we're going to straighten out the bottom leg. However, if you've recently had a hip replacement, I'd like you to go back to side leg one instead, please. Otherwise, you're going to rest that knee on the floor, but just check you haven't rolled forwards. So stack those hips. Bottom leg, can you push that leg straight? flex the foot. Now you should be resting on your little toe, on the edge of it rather than on the top of it. So I think push that heel away, make sure that foot is flexed, and we're going to keep pushing that heel away and lift and down. Exhale. Keep reaching so you can feel that inner thigh. Are you landing back onto your little toe, onto the edge of it? One last one. And down. Wonderful. Let's bring those knees in. And just take a little curl into it. Hand onto the ribs, big breath into the hand. And exhale. Big breath in, open. Big breath out, exhale. More, and breath out. Fantastic. From there we're going to come into propped position, so use your hand for support, pushing up. Let's bring the elbow underneath the shoulder, and we're just going to lengthen the legs out a little more and drop the top foot in front. We're coming into mermaid. You're going to stay where safe and appropriate for you. So osteoporosis, no lift. Let's take that arm up. Now push away from the floor. Lift your ribs away from the floor. And back down. So you're going to take this to where you can. Reach for the ceiling. Try not to push your hip away though. Stay over that elbow. Now if you can lift, you're going to lift. Use that breath, ribs and hips. Reach over. And down. Just going to make a slight adjustment, that's better. Ribs and hips, and I'm pushing over that arm. So this is weight bearing, it's really good for your bone density. As we age, we start to lose it. Even more so women, or those of you who might not have quite as healthy a diet or certain illnesses and medications. If you can you do 2 more? And one last one. And down. Wonderful. Let's just slide those legs apart and push up. And just give that shoulder a little roll. Let's turn the chin over the shoulder, nod it down. And back up. Wonderful. Let's take that to the other side, shall we? So grab your block. Head down. Remember that shoulder is underneath you. Use your mat to get that straight line, including the head. So chin is back, shoulders are open, core is active, and we're going into side leg 1. Really work that foot, stretch, lift, flex and down. Again, think about where you need to be feeling this. So fallen arches, flat feet, plantar fasciitis. This is a really good opportunity for you to be working that foot. Keep reaching that leg away as you lift. Exhale, lift. Let's do one more. And can you hold? Give me those little circles. 4, 3, 2. Oh, I forgot to tell you to hover your arm, didn't I? Other way. 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. Let's lower that down. Okay, into that little hover now, not too wide, ready for your développé. So we're drawing up. Now push through from the back of the hip rather than your back, okay? So I think push and bring that leg down. Drawing in, keep the spine tall. Exhale, push through. And down. Now last one, we're staying here for that dip. Hip replacements, come back to your side leg 1. Now we're going to dip, squeeze that down. Think inside of your ankle to the floor. And let's bend it in and just rest it down for a moment. Just give that hip a little stretch out before we go into sideline mermaid. So remember, if you have osteoporosis, diastasis, hernia, prolapse, certain spinal conditions that this might be too much for, keep both legs on the floor, but just squeeze the knees together and feel the legs grow lighter as though they're about to lift. Let's stretch those toes, breath in. Now exhale, really reach away, squeeze and lift, flex and down. Reach away. So feeling it in the side of the body, in the side of the hip. One last one. And down, very well done. Just relax, bring those knees in. Let's give them a rest. Give the hips a rest while we go into side lying open door. So I'm going to come down a little so that you can see me properly. So make sure you've got plenty block or cushion behind you. Shoulder is underneath. Collarbones are open and we're anchoring those knees. Let's follow the top hand up to the ceiling. Just reach, feel how that opens the shoulder and bring it back down. Lift and reach just the arm and the head and back down. So staying here if that's what you did on the other side. Otherwise, let's keep those knees squeezing together. Take a big breath in and exhale, come up and round. So I'm just going to come forward so I've got a bit more room. And lift, inhale, knees are down, and exhale, lift to recover. one, last one. And down. Wonderful. Okay, from there, just curl in a little. Let's take hands onto the ribs. Big breath in. And exhale, big full breath out. Roll forwards with it. Inhale. Into the hand. Exhale. Fantastic. Right, from there, let's use our hands for a bit of support. Push up. Ready for mermaid. So just lengthen the legs out a little more. Make sure you've got that elbow underneath your shoulder and drop the top foot in front. Pushing away from the floor. Let's take that arm up. Reach for the ceiling, lift the ribs and recover. So if you're not really feeling it in that underneath side, you might just be pushing away. We want to push up. Osteoporosis, you're going to stay here. If you feel you can and it's safe for you, you're going to lift the hips as well and stretch over. Stay strong through that shoulder as you lower back down. Lift. And push. Got 2 more if you can. Up, use that breath over that elbow. One last one. And down. And again, just slide the feet and knees apart, come up. Give that shoulder a roll. And let's just nod the chin, look down towards the fingertips. And recover. Right, from there, over into 4-point position. So I'm going to pop that block out of the way. Just taking the hands down, coming over onto hands and knees. Now, I'd like to press away from the floor with wide shoulders. Feel that you're supporting from underneath. And have you got a soft arch in your lower back? So we don't want to be flat unless you struggle to get your abdominals working and you do feel like you're hanging in your back. In which case, just tuck under a little with your tummy muscles coming to a flat back for me, and you're going to work from there. Okay, so holding that position, we're going to go straight into pinpoint arms and legs. Let's reach out and back in. Changing sides. So think of pushing away from the floor through the hand. If you turn your legs out, are you on the inside of your big toe? Get onto the top of all your toes if you can. Now let's add in that lift. Reach and lift. And in. I'm going to come a touch further forwards. Out and lift. And in. Now where's your head? Can you see the tips of your shoulders, or is your head down here? Just see if you can use those neck muscles. Lift that head for me. Chin nodded. We've got one more. And in now. From there, let's go into some stage 1 push-ups. Shoulders wide. Think of pushing away from the floor as you lower. That'll help you to keep those shoulders strong. So rather than collapsing into them, think push through the arms and lower forwards. Have you got 2 more? Last one. Wonderful. Now sit back to your shell stretch or your slump stretch and glide onto the little fingers, push them forwards. So think of pushing your little finger away. Breathe into the back. And then exhale, we're going to curl back up. And we're going to come back to that 4-point position. So this is one that you could do in kneeling or against the wall. Okay, if you need to. We're going into cat stretch. So I'd like you to focus on drawing the shoulders back. So spondylitis, I'd like you to just open the back and curl that way. Otherwise, can you draw those shoulders back and think of lifting forwards and up away from the floor. And down. Shoulders back. Lift away from the floor. Now, if you've got disc issues in your lower back, just keep it here with that mid-back area. But if it's appropriate for you to extend that lower back, you can take this all the way into extension and get as big a curve as you can manage through that spine. So shoulders come back, we lift, and down, one more. Now, we're going to tuck under, move from the pelvis. Inhale, release. So just check which end of your body you're moving from. Are you moving from your shoulders? Keep them still. Move from the pelvis. Okay, let's use that breath to draw the abdominals and the pelvic floor in. Rather than squeezing your glutes, let's take that exhale. Again, if it's appropriate for you, you can take this bigger. Spondylitis, this will be lovely for you. And back. One more. And again, we're just going to sit back for a moment into that stretch. This time, turn your palms to the ceiling and scrunch and stretch the fingers. Make a fist and then stretch it out. Just breathe all the way to your back. Down to the hips if you can. And then then let's curl back up. Now from there we're going to come into a propped position. Now some of you might not like that for your back, particularly if your abdominals aren't all that strong, in which case you can come all the way down and rest onto your forearms folded over, because we're going to be doing the leg kick. We're going to be doing single, some of you might want to take it into double. So onto the forearms, and just making sure that your elbows again are underneath the shoulders. Now let's push away from the floor. Draw the abdominals in, because otherwise you'll feel like you're here and resting on the top of your hips. Lift the top of the hips, think rest on your thighs. Okay, one leg, stretch your foot, kick it in. Now can you release it halfway, flex your foot and pull it in again. Let's do that slowly, same leg. Stretched foot, bring it in, flex and bring it in again. Same leg, stretch and flex and down, and again stretch and flex and down, stretch and flex and down. Let's change legs, do that slowly on the other leg. Stretch and flex and down, stretch and flex and down. Keep pushing away from the floor, resting on those thighs. So if your back's doing it all, come down and rest on your forearms. Stretch and flex and down. We've got one more like this. Now, I'm going to give you the option. You can either do one leg at a time and give me 4 more on each leg. Otherwise, you're going to come into the double with me. So that's both legs at the same time. Let's stretch and flex. Can we pick up the pace a little bit? Stretch and flex and down. 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 2 more. 1 more. And flex and down. Wonderful. Now, come down onto the forearms. Now, don't worry about having to see me. Just rest your head, your forehead on your arms. Tuck your toes underneath and just push your heels away to lift your knees off the floor, just to get a stretch. Just hold that stretch for me. And then lower the knees. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders. Take a breath out, push up and back. Now your toes should still be tucked under, if that's okay with your feet. If not, untuck the toes. We're going to keep the hands forward and we're going to sit back towards the heels. Stretch the toes. And come forwards, lower the hips, semi-plank. Really need you to use your breath on this. Inhale. Now if semi-plank isn't appropriate for you, so maybe a diastasis hernia or prolapse, don't take it quite all the way into semi-plank. Keep a bit of flexion at the hip. So you may be just coming to here with the hips still bent. One more. And forwards. Okay, wonderful. From there, let's keep the toes tucked. Can you take your hands to the side of your knees? And I'd like you to push your heels down. So we're going to lift the knees, push your heels down. Now stay there, get your heels all the way onto the floor, push back. Now, have your legs got you? Lift your chest. push up. Very well done, you just came up off the floor using a squat. Right, back to that good standing posture now. And we're going to take a stretch to the side, so either arm up or across the chest. Let's take that reach over, breath in. Now, just reach on the diagonal. Take another big breath in. Soften the knees. We're going to swing round to the middle, just hands at the side of the knees, not deep. Curl back up, take an arm circle. Changing sides, reach up and over. Inhale. Exhale, stretch forwards. Breathe into the back. And then soften and curl round. And restack. One more each way. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. And out. Last time. Inhale. Exhale to reach on that diagonal. And curl round, softening those knees. Restack, arm circle. And round. Wonderful. Let's just soften the knees. Take a big breath in, stretch up. And follow one arm all the way down, soften. Follow the fingertips. Out. And down. Soften, stretch up. Follow the fingertips. Last time. And down. And just roll those shoulders. And give me a big breath in. Just stretch. Big stretch. And down. And very well done. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope that's left you feeling full of energy and ready for whatever the day is going to throw at you. So I will be back tomorrow for the level 2 mat class. Take care.